Welcome to the Just Off Harbor podcast. Just as a reminder, I'm Britton.
I'm Danny.
And we are here to give you all the information that we possibly can to help you plan the best trip to Disneyland and other theme parks around everywhere. We want you to have the best travel experience, get the best rates. All of those things are really important to us, and which is why this is kind of like our little baby. We want you guys to have a good trip.
For sure.
So today we want to talk specifically about ticket types at Disneyland because we get this question a lot. Is a park hopper worth my money? How many days do I need to be in the park? All of these things are really, really important when planning out your trip because your budget is really heavily affected by which tickets you do. Mm-hmm.
But your budget's affected, but also the type of trip you end up having can make a big difference. So sometimes it's worth the extra amount of money for an upgraded ticket to have an overall better experience. So that's what we're going to kind of help you weigh out a little bit today as we're talking.
So the very, very base ticket you would ever purchase would be a one-day ticket for one park. We cannot book one-day tickets for you through Getaway Today. You can only buy one-day tickets on the Disneyland website. You can't go through any third-party salesperson. The only place to buy one-day tickets is through the Disneyland website. They are date-based. They are priced based on what day you're going, so they can be more expensive if you're going on a busier day versus a less busy day. So all of that changes based on that. So if you're looking for just one day, one park, or you can add a park hopper option, it's going to be a lot more expensive for one day, but one-day tickets only on the Disneyland website. We would never suggest going for one day.
No.
The only reason you would do that is if you are passing through and it's just a bonus. But you would never just plan to haul yourself to Disneyland for one day. Right. Because one-day tickets are often as expensive or more expensive than even a 2-day ticket or a 3-day ticket. Because if you're going on a busy day, they can be more expensive than a 2-day flexible ticket. Mm-hmm. So just keep that in mind. Don't choose a one day unless that's absolutely your only option.
And if you are choosing a one day, we recommend, well, it's kind of hard. Some people would want a hopper because if you have a certain ride you want to experience, like let's say you really want to do Guardians of the Galaxy or you really want to experience Cars Land, I would never choose a one day only ticket for DCA. But I would choose a hopper for Disneyland and DCA if those kind of e-ticket attractions are of exceptional value to you. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I would say if you just have one day, just go to Disneyland. Just skip DCA. As much as we love DCA, mm-hmm. I would choose for my overall Disneyland experience to just immerse myself in Disneyland Park. Maybe even buy Genie Plus, even though it's not as good of a value when you don't have the hopper. Buy Genie Plus to really enhance the amount of stuff you can get done. Buy Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, formerly known as Genie Plus, to help enhance the speed in which you can hit all those attractions in a single day. So that I would probably rather put my money toward that than a hopper in that situation.
I would agree with that.
So that's one-day tickets. And if someone's trying to sell you a one-day ticket on a different website, it is not legit. No. So you can only get that through Disneyland, like Britton said. So that's that one. Then you have 2-day tickets. So 2-day tickets are great for people that maybe either are on kind of a limited budget or can only take so much time off of work, or maybe you're wanting Disneyland to be a smaller part of an overall vacation where maybe you're doing Universal Studios or you're going to the beach or you're going down to SeaWorld or Legoland or something else as part of your trip. In that case, get a 2-day ticket. Maybe don't get a hopper. Just plan to do one day in Disneyland, one day in DCA, and just let it be what it is. That would be my 2-day ticket spiel.
This is where people also get a little confused because people will look and see that a 2-day ticket is, I'm making this up, $250. But then a one-day ticket is $190 for the day that they're going. And they're like, wait, I can get a 2-day, like it's more expensive to get the one day than the 2-day. And what am I seeing here? It's because 2-day tickets are not date-based. 2-day multi-day tickets, you can go whenever. So you can go on the busy, more expensive one-day day, and it's cheaper. But so sometimes even if you are looking at only maybe doing one day, but you're going on a really busy day, look at a 2-day option. Sometimes it's not that much more, and you could go for maybe a part day the day before. If you didn't think you had a full day or you're traveling the next day, go in for the morning, spend the extra money, get a 2-day ticket instead of the 1-day, because sometimes that's cheaper per day if you're going at kind of a busy time. So just keep that in mind a little bit.
For sure. Like I got blocked out of, what was it? Oh, when we were there for Phantasmic opening.
Oh, yeah.
A couple months ago, my magic key was a little lower tier than hers, and I was blocked out on a Saturday. We were going to be there, and all my friends had magic keys, and so I didn't want to not get a hopper and prevent everyone from being able to go back and forth. So my 1-day ticket was like $260 because it was a blocked out high tier Memorial Day weekend
Park
hopper. So I maybe should have looked. I might have been better off almost
getting
at that
a
point
2-day
getting
ticket.
the 2-day, but probably not. But
Probably
anyway,
not a 2-day hopper anyway.
yeah, but it definitely is something to consider. Like Britton said, either for the morning after, or even if you're on a travel day and you're like, well, we won't get in until 5 p.m., so it's not probably worth it. Go in, see the fireworks, get some dinner, whatever, and you're probably not that much worse off. So
that's our spiel with 2-day tickets. 3 to 5-day tickets. We get this question a lot. Is 3 days enough? Should I do 4 days? Is 5 days too much? All of those questions start to come in when you get into the 3 to 5 day range. I feel like if you are going just for Disneyland and you want to experience everything, you need at least 3 days. That's my opinion. You need 3 days. You can do, and if you can get a hopper or not, but being able to spend your first couple days doing everything and then your last day kind of like recapping, redoing some of the things that were fun, trying foods you didn't get to try, going to a show you haven't seen. That third day helps you to like re-experience stuff. So I always like at least a 3-day if you're planning on like a vacation at Disneyland.
Yep.
So then if you go into 4 days, 4 days is great, but almost all of the time, our partners at Getaway Today, we can book you a 5-day trip for the cost of 4 days. So the 5th day is free, almost always. So then if you can fudge the extra night of hotel or anything like that, that 5th day is like, it's free. So why wouldn't you want to go?
We actually have a lot of hotels that have 4th night free. So if you can come in on a Monday, go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and pay those 3 nights, you could get your 4th night free and go into the park on Friday and fly out that evening and not need a hotel. So you could actually basically get that entire last 24 hours paid for if you go about it with the right maths, the right way.
The maths are important.
Yeah.
And then also when it comes to park hopping, so once you hit that 3 to 5 day range, park hopper tickets become a lot more valuable because you're spreading that cost out over the course of many days. So I know that it used to be that it was $60 flat, like no matter what.
I think now it goes up to $75.
I think it goes up to $75 for a 5-day. But you're splitting, it's $75, but it's over the course of 5 days. It's, what is that? Less than $20 a day. To less than $15 a day to add that on to each of my days. And then it starts to become more valuable. So if you're somebody that wants flexibility in dining reservations, wants flexibility to see all the different nighttime entertainment, maybe you, especially if you're going during the school year where fireworks are only on the weekends and certain like Phantasmic's only on the weekends and stuff, if your only day in Disneyland is on a Friday or a Thursday and your DCA day is on Friday and you can't hop, then you can't go see fireworks. You can't go see Phantasmic. You can't hop back and forth and make that happen. So it gets a little complicated, and with park hopping, you get that flexibility to be able to go to that dining reservation that's available only on the day that you started in the opposite park, but you want to go to the other park for your dining reservation. So the flexibility gets really more important.
Well, and I think it's especially important if you plan to get Genie Plus for really any of your days, honestly. Like, Genie Plus becomes half as valuable if you're only in half the park. So if you think, we'll probably buy Genie Plus 2 of our 5 days or 3 of our 5 days or all of our days, then choosing to not hop is basically like canceling out the effect of your Genie Plus. You're just paying for less access overall, because Genie Plus, you're paying $35 or $25 or $30, whatever it is going to be for the day. Not Genie Plus, Lightning Lane Multipass.
I wasn't going to correct her.
Lightning Lane Multipass, if you are paying that much for it, but you're only getting access to the 10 attractions that are available in, I think it's actually 13 or something in Disneyland, and the like 8 that are in DCA, you only get one or the other. And so especially on your DCA only days, you're paying a lot of money for not a lot of ride
And that's
time.
assuming you get to ride on
All
everything
of
that
them.
was available.
Yeah, right. So just, I don't know. I just feel like for me, and I've said this in other videos, and maybe this doesn't work for everyone, but I just really feel like you should wait until you can pay for your whole trip the way you want it to be. If it means if you're scrimping and trying really hard to make it for a deadline, that's one thing. Like you can only go on this summer week or whatever, and you have what you have, then fine. But if this is your once in a lifetime situation and you've been budgeting and planning for it and whatever, I would just budget for all the things, even if it means your trip is 6 months later than you were hoping.
Save a few more $100.
Yeah.
You know, because it really, your enjoyment of your overall trip is going to be significantly different.
Right. And there's plenty of other ways to save money. You don't have to stay on property. You don't have to, character dine. You don't have to do all the little extra things. But having Genie Plus, having tickets that give you access to the things you need, those are going to really set the tone for your whole trip. And so I just feel like I would give up a lot of other things in order to make those parts happen.
But I will say, there is a time and a place for 1 park per day tickets. Those times and places include, at least for me, young families that don't want to haul back and forth between 2 parks. It's not hard. It's easy to do. You're not folding up strollers. It's easy to park hop. But if you're just like, we want to take a slower pace, we want to really fully take in each park one day at a time, we do want to save the park hopping money for something else, there is a time and a place for 1 park per day. You do lose value if you're going to be doing Lightning Lane Multipass, but also if you have a lot of little kids, maybe Lightning Lane Multipass isn't a thing that you're doing that much. You're spending a lot more time in Fantasyland and not caring that you're maybe taking a little bit more time waiting in line for a couple of those higher things, or maybe one parent is going and waiting in the line or doing a single rider situation and while the other parent waits with the kids instead of doing the big long wait. So, and also seasonally, there are certain times of years that 1 park per day tickets are perfectly acceptable. Off-season times, January, February are great times to decide I want a low crowd and don't really care about even like all the entertainment. Like I don't really care about fireworks. I don't care about the parades. I don't care about being able to hop back and forth. We want to go and see characters and do a few rides and spend and enjoy the atmosphere that is Disneyland and take it at a slower pace. That's an absolutely valid 1 park per day trip.
Yeah.
If you're going at Halloween time, you need a park hopper because there's After Dark Oogie Boogie 3 days a week, where if your 1 park a day was DCA, you're getting kicked out at 6 p.m. So instead of where normally if you had a hopper, you could hop over to Disneyland for the night. So it gets complicated during the holidays. But 1 park per day is in the early spring, not spring break. Early, like January, February, maybe the first week of March, I would say you could get by with
But
1
I
park.
still say, if you're getting Genie Plus, if Genie Plus is a priority.
Lightning Lane Multipass.
If Lightning Lane Multipass is a priority, hoppers should be a priority too.
As well.
And that I think what you're saying is completely valid. There's definitely people that don't need hoppers and don't need Genie Plus.
Yes, and that's the
family you're talking
that
about.
I'm talking about.
But the people with teenagers that want to hit Guardians of the Galaxy and Space Mountain and Indiana Jones and not Radiator Springs, that one's not on a Lightning Lane, Midway Mania and Grizzly River Run and Soarin' and all those kind of longer wait time, longer load time rides, you really want the dual ticket situation of the Lightning Lane Multipass and the Park Hopper. And I don't know how else to explain it, but like, if you have a Park Hopper and you're not using Genie Plus, I mean, that's okay. That's okay, because you can spread your trip, especially if you're on a long trip where you can
or
sort of
things like entertainment are really important to you.
Right. So that's different. If you have a Park Hopper and not Genie Plus Lightning Lane Multipass, that is an acceptable thing to me. If you have Lightning Lane Multipass and you're choosing not to get a Park Hopper, I feel like you're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot, especially if on those DCA days. And that's just because there's just less offerings. And so it's just really knowing your group. And this is why when you guys reach out to us and want us to help you plan a trip, the first thing we ask is like, how old are your kids? How many people are going with you? Do you have elderly people with you? What type of riders are they? How tall are your kids? Like, those are the questions, because that will really help us be able to know, as we're helping you plan, if Genie Plus Lightning Lane Multipass is something that is going to be a big part of a successful trip for you or not.
Yeah.
You know?
That being said, the other thing is you can add Lightning Lane Multipass to your tickets when you buy them. You can only buy them for every day of your pass. You can't just be like, well, I only want 2 Lightning Lane passes on my 5-day ticket. That's not a choice. You have to do it for every single day. The benefit is the price can adjust based on how busy it is that day. And if you buy it ahead of time, it's locked in at the lowest rate. So if you are somebody that's like, I want Lightning Lane Multipass every day of my trip, no questions asked, then yes, add it to your ticket.
And if you have like a 2 to 3 day trip where you think that that's likely, that's a good scenario
it's
to
valid.
just buy it.
If you are doing a 4 to 5 day trip, I do not believe you need Lightning Lane Multipass for every day.
You don't.
Because you're taking your trip at a slower pace. We tend to typically on a 4 or 5 day trip do Genie or Lightning Lane Multipass 2 to 3 of those 4 to 5 days, because 1 or 2 of those days we tend to take a longer break and at the hotel pool. We do a dining reservation. We do things that aren't included on Lightning Lane Multipass, like shows, and we wait for a parade, or we spend the morning in Fantasyland or the evening just doing all the things that aren't even included on Lightning Lane Multipass. There are ways to do days completely Multipass free
and not even miss it.
And not even feel bad. So it's one of those things that if you're like, I want to do it, I want a couple days of really focused, really ride heavy Lightning Lane Multipass days, absolutely. Buy it a couple days. We typically tend to do it on our first day and like our last day, because everybody's really excited day 1 and wants to do lots of rides. And then by the end, we want to make sure we hit everything again. So, and then maybe like a middle day. But if you can plan to do that just a few days, it'll save you a few $100s to plan that a couple of your days. You just are slowing down.
It's just a
those
strategy problem.
Yeah.
It's not even like, because over the course of your 5-day trip, you're already seeing the fireworks, doing a dining reservation, swimming at the pool, going to the tiki room. You're already doing those as part of a normal trip. So if you can just strategize and say, you know what, we're saving the tiki room for a non-Genie Plus day. We're saving the parade wait time for a non-Genie Plus day. And I know it's not called Genie Plus, but you guys at this point understand that
we just need to swap it to just
It'll just like beep over. We'll just go back and have it be like Lightning Lane Multipass every time I say Genie Plus. Anyway.
They gave it a more complicated name.
We need to go back to calling it OOMP.
Just OOMP.
OOMP.
Multipass.
Yeah, we can do that. We can get it in our head. We've just been talking about Genie Plus and pounding Genie Plus so long.
Yeah.
That Multipass.
Well, and it took us a long time to stop calling it Max Pass.
Yeah. So sorry.
We'll get there.
Sorry.
We're learning. You know what we mean.
Okay, so as a quick recap, because we've kind of like beat this to death,
and we kind of went all over the place.
Yeah. So, and we had complications in between, kids to pick up in the middle of this. So 1-day ticket only through the Disneyland website. Just do Disneyland. Don't do a hopper unless you're prioritizing really hitting a bunch of e-tickets like Guardians and stuff. 1-day ticket, Disneyland through the website. 2-day ticket, best situation is a 1 park per day, Disneyland and DCA Again, unless you're trying to use Genie Plus and you want to really maximize that and do the hopper, there's that option. 3 to 5 park per day, or 3 day to 5 day park tickets. You probably really want a hopper, and you want to plan to do Genie Plus 2 to 3 of the days if possible. So don't just automatically add it to your ticket unless you just kind of don't want to worry about it. And you're like, you know what? We have the money. We don't want to worry about setting it up every morning on our phone. We just want to be able to know it's there. Then by all means, get it. But as a money saving tip, that's one of the best ways to just sort of strategize some non-necessary expenses. So
You can't do more than 5 days. They don't offer tickets that are more than 5 days. If you are wanting to do more than 5 days, you can sometimes get like 2-3 day tickets if you want 6 days, or just like we can help you price out what's the best situation for it, because you don't necessarily want a 5 day and then a 1 day really expensive day, unless you get a 5 day and a 1 day of the very cheapest day that's in the middle and you use that. So anyway, it's complicated, but we can make it happen. We can give you more than 5 days if that's important. But Disneyland does not offer more than 5 day tickets.
Right. The other thing, again, that we mentioned earlier is if you're doing a 5 day, make sure you're booking through us, because we can get you the 5th day free. So if you go through the Disneyland website, you're paying for all 5 days on a 5 day hopper. If you go through us, you're paying for 4 days and getting 5 days. So that's important. Okay, next thing to discuss.
All right, so one question that we get asked quite a bit is about Magic Keys. Magic Keys, people ask, I want to go on more than one trip a year. Is that worthwhile to upgrade my family into Magic Keys? So the things to know about Magic Keys. The lowest tier Magic Key, which is the Imagine Key, is only for California residents. You cannot purchase it as an out-of-state resident. So California only. The blockout dates only include weekdays. You cannot go on any weekend ever. So it's a cheap one if you want to go quite a bit. Oh yeah, and also not during the summer. So if you're like, I just kind of want to go during the school year, sometimes in the middle of the week, I either homeschool my kids or I want to go on my own or whatever
or you really want to go for Halloween a couple times, then go for spring, season a little bit and see the holidays or whatever.
So it has its place, but it's not going to be the typical like
vacation
family
one.
buy your Magic Keys. The next level up is the Enchant Key. Now this key has all Saturdays blocked out all year and summer.
And a lot of Sundays. Almost all Sundays.
Yeah, most Sundays. So if you're a midweek traveler from out of state, it's actually a pretty good option if you want to just kind of go during the school year. You don't really care about summer because it's hot or whatever. It's not a terrible option. It's a pretty good deal. You get discounts in the park. You get discounted. Do they have discounted parking on Enchant?
I feel like some amount of discount, but I could be wrong.
So it's definitely something to consider. And if the benefit now, at least most of the time, if keys are available, if you buy yourself a 5 day ticket and you go on your trip and you enjoy it and you're like, this was great, and I spent $450 on my 5 day ticket, you can apply that $450 to a purchase of a Magic Key. And this can be for any Magic Keys.
$850, $900.
So if you're doing more than one trip a year,
that's
for
5 days or longer.
5 days, a Magic Key is valuable to you because, again, discounted food and merch. You're going to at least flush out even, if not ahead. Your next key...
You do have to make sure, like when she was talking about upgrading, you have to make sure you're upgrading before you leave the park. It's on your last day. Mm-hmm. If you exit the park and you have not gone and upgraded your key,
you can't do it.
That's it. You're done. You can't go back.
You upgraded your ticket.
Yeah, upgraded to a key. Yeah. From your ticket.
So definitely something to consider. You can upgrade to any of the Magic Keys before you
that
leave.
are available. Which right now, none of them are available for sale. It used to be pre-closure and all of that they were pretty much consistently available in some form. Annual passes were consistently available in some form or another. And then they brought the Magic Key back and they were mostly available. And then at some point they just kind of stopped selling them. I don't know if they capped out or if they're just testing different things or capacity things or what. But the point is, if you're buying a 5 day ticket in January to use in June and you're like, well, I'll just upgrade while I'm there, there's a chance Magic Keys won't even be available to upgrade to. So just keep that in mind. Don't be disappointed if that is the case, and don't rely on that as a method for upgrading, because 80% of the time these days it's not available. And we try to let you guys know when we find out they're going to go on sale or that they're back on sale. So just make sure you're watching our socials for that too. But it's trickier than just I want to upgrade. And it used to be that it was as simple as I'm going to upgrade, but now it's not. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there.
For sure. The next key is the Believe key. This one's been a little tricky. Recently, it used to be that you could go pretty much most weekends except holidays. You can go all through a lot of the summer. No Christmas, which is standard for all ticket, all annual Magic Keys at this point. But really open overall. We've noticed this next year, though, there's a lot more Saturdays getting blocked out. So definitely just make sure that if you're somebody that needs to be going on specific times, that you don't really want to be that flexible, then maybe Magic Key's not great for you, or you need to be getting the Inspire, which is complete open availability except for 2 weeks at Christmas. So just something to consider. Magic Keys are really great. They can help you go, especially if you're going multiple times a year, to save a lot of money. But it's an investment. If you're out of state, you can't do payment plans. You got to be able to fork it all over up front, which can be a lot. It can be thousands of dollars for your family. So all the different things. Again, feel free to message us if you have any specific questions about your trip or your family or your upcoming plans, and we can help you decide if that's important or not. We always want you to be able to go for the least amount of money, whether it's tickets or an annual pass, whatever is the best combination, we can help you figure that out.
One other thing to note, everyone 3 and older in your family needs a Magic Key. So sometimes we get the message like, is this for my whole family? Like, is this a family pass? No, it's per person. It's expensive. It's definitely, like Britton said, it's an investment. It's like buying season tickets to anything. And you have to buy it per person. And it can be kind of tricky if you do have questions about a 2 turning 3-year-old, like partway through the year, just message us and we can help you with that. But basically, you have to buy it, even if it's partway through the year. Technically, you're supposed to buy it, even if you're off of your own like family upgrade situation. So anyway, just things to keep in mind. It can feel really complicated, but there's answers to most of your questions. So we'd love to help you with that. And when it comes right down to it, Magic Keys have become something that's really a good investment for us and our families most years. Like, if we can look at it and math it out, I think we've got it down at different points to where we're basically paying like $30 or $40 a day in the long run to go instead of $160 or whatever. If you just, like Britton said, if you're planning at least 2 longish trips, it can become really valuable. So definitely consider it.
So again, feel free to message us if you have any questions about your tickets. Message us to book your trip. We can schedule your vacations for you now through Getaway Today. So we're really excited about that. We can make sure you have the right ticket type, the right hopper, the right lightning lanes added.
You're getting the best price.
Pass. Extra days free, again, both on tickets and hotel. So we want to help you find that. We also have layaway plans available for just $200 down, and then you can pay over time. So all of those things are super helpful. We're happy to help. We'd love to help you book your trip. So just send us a private message. We also have a form on our website that you can fill out to get specialized quotes for Disneyland, Disney World, cruises, Universal, all of your favorite theme park destinations. So we obviously know the most about Disneyland at this point, but we are ready and willing and available to help you with all of those things.
Right. And we've been branching out. We've learned a lot as we've been going through this process and stuff of kind of being able to book your trips. We know a lot more than we used to about things like Walt Disney World and cruise lines and stuff. So Alani is another one that we can do. So any of those things that you're wondering about, just reach out. And if we don't have the answer, we'll find the answer and we'll help you. So we want you to have a great trip. Let us help you.
Perfect. Thanks for being here. See you next time.